Hey, how you doing? Welcome to a new episode of Real Men, Real Talk, Nashville. My co-host today will always be my fellow talk show peoples. You got Daniel, my everybody's favorite Uncle Dwight, Anthony, and Corey, and myself, Wayne. Hitting on hot topics about men's perspective on life, love, happiness, sports, and all that good shit. So, Corey, what's going on, bruh?
Not much, man. Just happy sports is back. You know what I mean? Even though it's weird watching a sporting event with an empty stadium, but I'm just glad to be able to watch something.
I know one thing. Baseball, I think everybody hit a fucking home run this year because there wasn't no distractions. I was like, God damn, you gonna hit home run like it ain't
setting up on a golf
right.
tee.
I'm like, God damn.
T-ball.
Yeah.
Even the pitcher hitting the home run.
So I guess not having no fans was like
best thing could have happened.
Either way. But my thing is, I thought what they was going to do was like take the stadiums and put it where maybe a selected food, like you have 4 seats here and then you skip some seats and there's another set of 4 seats and spread it out.
Yeah.
Where there's some people will tickets probably be high as hell because I mean if you only sell in certain sections they're probably gonna break the bank. Yeah, but at the same time it'll be some kind of that atmosphere there because that's what a lot of players so used to having fans in the stands.
Right.
You know?
But here's the generic thing. Now, I had season tickets coming up for this football season. But, of course, they emailed me and said, well, since they're not letting people in the stands, just like the NBA, you can buy a cardboard cutout or whatever of you and put in the stand and make it motion activated like it's looking like you.
What, the wing gonna blow on?
Yeah, I mean, it's some kind of digital stuff or whatever, but it's a cutout picture of you in the stands, and every once in a while it look like you clapping or making it. That's some, but I'm still being home on my couch, literally watching this. But it looked like I'm in the stands. I was like, there I go. No, you right there. But now that's bogus.
I'm not gonna lie. When we went to the Daniel and I went to the Dallas Stadium. It's nothing like going and actually being there.
Right.
That I think a lot of fans really truly miss actually going to the games. Like for the Sounds games, I wanted to go to a lot of Sounds games, but it was just the point of being there and be able to have that experience, live. I mean,
right.
It's like a one-on-one personal thing that you go through, and I think that's what a lot of fans is really gonna miss because you can always watch football on TV,
right?
But but it's not the same as actually sitting
there, being in that environment,
right? Spilling people farts and everything else. Daniel, yeah.
Not only that, just seeing the dedicated fan base where you're old, young, from all cultures.
That tradition, and
going. I'm just glad I was able to go to my first Dallas game in their stadium before all this stuff happened.
But see, you're talking about Dallas, though. Dallas.
You viewers, as you see, we're in a fan dedicated room of Dallas, so I'm pretty sure you Dallas fans will appreciate, and Auburn will appreciate the
yes, sir.
The time that someone took to actually decorate this room. Hey, it is what it is.
Well, I'm not an Auburn fan, but at least it's the SEC, so I give it a thumb up for that part.
Oh, okay. Uncle Dwight, how you been, man?
Hanging in there. To reiterate on the fans not being in the stands, but watching them on TV is not the same either. Because you're used to people looking at the camera shots, all the fans on the stands being full, the noise, and they're talking about they were piping the noise during the actual game. And there was something that was on yesterday, I can't remember if it was a college game or an NFL game, where they actually had people spaced out in the stands, and also they had cut out cardboards of different celebrities in the stands.
Well, because like for me, this year, actually, my wife's a Tennessee Titans fan. So I actually wanted to get together with friends and family, I wanted to do some tailgating this year. I actually wanted to do some tailgate, rent out space, tailgate. But I mean, even that atmosphere has been taken away. And for, I guess, I hope it doesn't become the norm where people get comfortable. Like now, we're getting comfortable wearing masks. We social distancing to a certain degree. We getting so used to people now getting sick. It's not like, it's like,
another case.
Right, another case. Okay, let's move on. Rent due.
But do you think we'll ever get back to normal, man?
No. I think this has been to some degree, well, just like, the new tape of Trump admitting that he knew about the coronavirus.
And lied to us.
That he knew how severe it was, and he kept away from the people. But at the same time, that's why you got so many people, conspiracy theorists, that thinking that this is basically a trial basis for a brand new structure of society.
I've heard that.
To a point where government has more control over what plays out.
Not only that, what might get back to normal, like we're talking about attending sporting events and stuff like that, but what is really subject to change is your brick and mortar. A lot of businesses have seen that they can still function with people working at home.
Oh yeah.
Maybe I don't need this building with all this overhead expense.
Right.
It just
kind of like the same structure as when they took a lot of jobs overseas, and you call to get some service done, and
and you get somebody.
I've been is answering, but his name is Jeff, and but it ain't Jeff.
This is Jeff. How many?
So it's, but that's the same thing I said. Just for like the school, same thing. If the schools say, well, if we can get the same turnout from them being at home, then we don't have to pay for this school building to be here. We can just have a stadium or a smaller structure for other functions as far as educational wise, but we don't need this large mass building. We don't have to build no high school that can hold 1,200 kids anymore. That look like a college. They don't have to build that kind of structure anymore. So, in a lot of ways, you're right. I think businesses are learning how to downsize because there's more money in their pocket.
Businesses are learning how to go out of business. You think about it.
That's the other thing too.
You know what I mean? If you're a restaurant or you're a nightclub owner, any type of entertainment, you've been pushed to the limit.
Oh yeah, you've been pushed to the side.
Here in Nashville, and granted that I'm not a native of Nashville, but here it made the news that two historical places, one Dairy Queen or something like that had been, or Dairy King had been in business 50 years. And this had wiped them out to where they had to close their doors.
Right.
And the same thing for any type of place like
especially a small
Piccadilly. Piccadilly's just went under. And all the cafeteria and buffet places. And so one of my favorite places is Monell's. And I wonder how this is going to affect them.
Right.
I mean, but they also at the same time they're learning to adapt, and I think that's been one of the biggest things, learning to adapt to the new structure. Because actually, restaurants are adapting to carry out and deliver. So, and it's a new structure.
But that goes back to what Uncle said, though. At some point, you're going to get rid of the tables and the chairs, and all you can do is come and get.
It's going to be a rippling effect because this has been, we talk about outsourcing. Outsourcing might have started, if I recollect correctly, you had a steel mill in Ohio, where I grew up at. That closed up when I was preschool age. And
a long time ago.
And you're talking about, whereas, Don't get smart.
That's what I was waiting on.
Nailed it.
Anyway, when you look at it, technology, when you look at technology, you look at the administrative side of the house, government agency, business agencies, you have big typing pools, word processors, and computers eliminated that. Those people went out. Now you're going to have the same rippling effect when it comes to the entertainment industry. The sales industry has already started that, and this is just putting a cap on it in some places. And it's just, the population has gotten bigger, and the jobs, where the rubber meets the road type jobs are disappearing. And it's going to be interesting.
You know what can't go away?
What?
Regal movie theater. I got so many points racked up.
And you can't use them.
I can't even use that one of them. Man,
What you need to hope is that they don't expire.
It could be worse. It could be like me and bought a popcorn bucket and ain't been able to use it all year.
Hey, you're supposed to be able to use that bucket for the rest of the year.
Yeah, 1 year. Yeah. I bought a bucket and they had no popcorn.
Hey, I have bad news. You have to buy a new bucket next year.
And I got to see a supervisor.
Yeah.
I got to talk to somebody. I got to talk to somebody.
Gotta talk to management.
We got to go half on the next one or something.
All right, I'm going to bring this subject up, and we probably have a lot of people that really question it. But at the same time, that's what we do.
Here we go.
We bring out the man's perspective on certain things.
Swallow spit.
Yo, swallow spit, talk shit, know who you fucking with. Ladies, I'm gonna ask this to the ladies out here, and I'm gonna ask you guys. Ladies, do you take the time, and fellas, I'm gonna ask you this. Ladies, do you take the time to actually know your man? Learn who he is from right now to period. Just pay attention or even talk to him to find out who he is. And guys, I'm gonna ask you this. Do you think a man's pride affects a relationship to the point where his pride becomes a problem in the relationship? Because women don't understand a man's pride.
I say, now for me, it's going to go one of two ways. Number one is it's going to downsize. His pride is going to downsize because now he has to play into her and giving up himself what he has already built within himself as far as his pride, his direction, his attitude, his personality. Now he's conjoining with this other half, and well, she don't like this. She don't operate with that. She don't. Her mindset is not ready to handle that or this that. So now he adjusts
But see,
to cater in to
but
this being with this other half.
that's what I'm asking, because it's simple fact. A man's pride is basically the identity of who he is.
Who he
so
is.
what you're saying is
He's
that he would have to
loses-
give up his identity to be with this person.
Yeah, and not only give up his original identity, he's giving up his original identity to form a new one. And what I mean by that, he's going to form a new one because now he has to adjust with this other party. Okay, with her mindset, it's going to have to connect. Okay, what's her mindset and what's mine? Where will they come together?
But see,
and where will they still separate?
But see, where the problem that lies is, he's willing to do that. He's willing to adjust. But when do it comes to the point where it becomes so much of a change for him that it starts to backlash?
It starts to
lashing
backfire.
out.
Yeah, who really knows where that point is.
Just let me know when I can speak on this.
Just and I'm gonna say this, and then we'll move on to court. Like I said, you don't know where that point is, and when it's gonna show up, or how long it's going to just lay flat.
Right.
But at some point, there's going to be that sacrifice and reconstruction.
I have a comment from a viewer. The most intimate of details in knowing the likes and dislikes, quirks of your significant other defines the connection you share and how involved you are.
Nah,
Okay, we're going to come back to that.
That doesn't matter. You knowing that man don't like ketchup on his eggs. That man don't want no fabric softener in his underwear. I mean, it's the little things.
Yeah.
But back to what he was saying, the pride thing for a grown man, he ain't bending on that. He ain't. Especially if, and I know this is sexist, but I'm going to say it, if you want to conform to what she wants, then she makes the money. Okay? That's just the bottom line.
Right.
No matter what you think that she's the alpha male in the relationship, if you want to conform to what she wants. As far as conforming to what I want, I make the money. But I'm going to be willing to meet you.
So you being more submissive.
You know what I mean? I'm not gonna be submissive nowhere. No.
But you're going to bend a little bit.
I'm gonna compromise, but you know what I mean? Again, I don't mean to come off sexist, but it's my house.
Right.
My household, my family. I'm gonna take the lead at all times. You understand? I'm gonna be out
But
front.
if you got some women are very strong-minded or very strong-willed, and they want to basically be in control. So how do you think? Okay, if you're if she's wanting to let you be that role, or she want to like be in that role, but yet at the same time, you know.
But you got some. But here's the thing: you got some cats out there that want to be told what to do. You got some cats out there that want to be controlled. For me, I won't be saying I do. Not anytime soon. That's a no-go. But you got some cats out there that love it, that want to be told what to put on, that want to dress alike. You know what I mean? You got cats out there that love that. You know what I mean? Then you got cats out there like, hey, look, don't worry about nothing. I got this, that, and that. Then the only time a man pride really gonna affect a relationship is when he don't allow his woman to be great. See, it's one thing for you to be great, but not allow her to shine.
Right.
Okay? If she wants a career, let her have that. If you coming up short on the rent or the mortgage, let her help you. It ain't, I'm a man and I got to do this by myself, because you're going to drive everybody crazy.
Right.
But if you got a woman that's willing to be great, let her be great, let her shine. Don't be, you got to be bare feet and pregnant. That ain't what I'm saying. that ain't what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, if you're going to be the man all the time.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You hear that bumping?
But you got some guys that you know, that male ego, that male pride things really, you know, messes up a situation. It makes it worse because, you know, the first thing they say, I'm a man, you know.
Then that's like what? You got to tell her you a man, you in trouble.
Yeah, right.
You got to tell her, remind her that you a man. It's a rap.
It's
you
a
in
rap.
trouble anyway.
Down here.
Nailed it.
Uncle Dwight, the wisest of us, the oldest of us all. What you think?
Uncle Dwight, he ain't gonna sit here and keep calling you old.
I said the oldest.
I'll let that go. I'll let that go because they had to say once before, you don't get old being no fool, boy. So I won't go into that.
All right.
But back to the subject though. It's a partnership, 50-50 relationship. And if it requires the man to carry the load, the man carries the load. There's something you pick your battles. It's just
Yeah.
like life. There's
That's
some
right.
things that, it ain't that so. But then there's other things that are deal breakers.
Right.
And you just got to be flexible. It is a continuously growing process. You never quit growing. It's continuous. Things always change. Personalities change. Ideas of looking at different things, they continuously change. And you got to be flexible and go with the flow.
Yeah, I come what he sees.
Daniel, you got anything good with that?
Let me add one more thing to it.
Uh-huh.
When you have a confident woman and a confident man, and they understand relationships, it works.
It works out.
Yeah.
So one is not overshining the other, basically.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or if it's their turn to shine, they shine,
They shine.
and you support them.
That's right.
I mean, because I always believe, hey, if she shining, I'm shining. If
Yeah.
I'm shining, she shining. Because if we together, I mean, we both in the spot.
And that's the way it should be projected. You know, if she winning, hell, I'm winning just sitting back in the support section. Supposedly.
But it only becomes a problem when she reminds you that she's
Right, when she had to put that up front. Look, I don't got this. I'm doing
It's only a problem with
But
she
where
has to remind
where did that come
that
from?
that she's with it.
Where that come out at? She gonna always. I mean, if you have that particular person, that's gonna always put that in your face.
But see, you should always go get someone that's gonna motivate you to do better.
Exactly.
And so
I agree with
if you automatically being motivated to do better, y'all, without competing, are competing. But it's for the benefit of y'all relationship and for the good of y'all household.
Teamwork.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying?
Teamwork.
Teamwork.
That's
Yep.
right.
That's how it
Daniel?
comes. When it comes, you better hold on.
But
tight.
see, the thing to that is, when you meet someone, I truly believe now, when you meet someone, communication, not just dating, or you focus on the appearance of the person. I think now communication is the more beneficial part of the relationship, because I think the more deeper you look into that person's personality and beliefs and what direction they may be going will help you determine if you're going to be able to have a relationship with this person or not. Because I know dating used to be, oh damn, she looks good. Run over there.
But see,
That
comes
That's
with age, though.
superficial.
Yeah, that comes with
That comes with
age.
age. See,
But we're
First
talking
of all,
to our young guys.
let me clear this up for our viewers. 40 is not the new 30. All right, 40
No
is
way.
40. If you're doing the same stuff you were doing at 40 that you were doing at 30, you're in trouble. So when it comes to women, let's go back to women. When we younger, looks is everything to us.
Well, that's true.
But once you get a little bit older and you've been through some things and you've had to pay some bills,
But see,
you know what I mean?
that's
That
why
look
we
come
coach.
down a little
That's
bit.
why we coaching our young. That's why we coaching our young viewers what you got to do.
That the looks come down, and it's something that jumps looks, and that's okay. What she doing for it?
Right.
What she got going for it?
How she get here? How she?
Yeah,
get
you know what I
this,
mean. And where she
How
go?
she roll?
So looks start to take notches down. Usually when you're a young cat, teenager, early 20s, maybe even early 30s, it's she got to be banging. And they ain't got to have nothing between the ears, but she got to be banging.
Right.
So, but when you get older and you start realizing, okay, it's tricks and trades to this life thing. Yeah, she look good, but what she got
What else?
between the ears?
What else
What
is
she doing
behind it?
for it? Yeah. And then you know what you say something like, he can have them problems. I don't want them.
You can look at a very cold, sterile way too. You can sit down and make a list of pros and cons.
That's right.
I've done that.
But with those pros and cons, have you? I mean, as an individual, have you sat down and actually asked yourself, what are your pros and cons?
Yes.
Because
You're making up.
you have a list of what you can deal with and
Yeah,
what
what
I
you
can't
cannot
deal
deal
with. You know,
Yeah.
so
Yeah,
it's-
you have and you must.
Yeah.
Your must haves and your have nots.
Yeah.
But it also has to be another list that says, this is where I'm going.
Right.
That's
Can she
hard.
help me get there? Will she be there with me to help me get there?
Right.
And this is what I'm looking for. See, if y'all ain't looking at the same finish line, y'all ain't gonna never be on. So what I mean by that is when you started dating, them early days ain't about telling her how pretty she is. She realized she's pretty or you would have never asked her out.
Right.
The early days is to find out, okay, what do you see yourself in 5, 10 years from now? You know what I mean? You know.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah. So Daniel, what's just for you the youngest of the group? What's your perspective is?
I mean, if you're willing to finally meet that person that's willing to bend their back over for you, do anything for you, just treat you how you would treat them, just out of generosity, not because I'm doing it because I love you, not because I got to. I don't owe you shit. So,
But
you
I mean,
finally-
if you date, even though you are that way, and that person does not seem to be that way, but at the same time they're attractive, they're whatever the case may be. Is that something you're willing to give up, that compromise, or is that something they must show, regardless of what they are, or who they look like, or whatever? I'm talking about as from, I know now, as far as older cats, we look at as far as, when they say the cake look good and the ingredients may be fucked up. Now we looking at the ingredients.
What's in it? What's in it?
You gotta take up under that ice.
Right.
You know, there's a lot of ice in it. You can have a lot of So now we doing this on that ice, huh?
Now you dig a little farther now past that icing.
Right.
I wanted to see what's in this flour in this dough.
Right. So, hey.
There's another way to put it,
Uh-huh.
Charlotte. Short term, little head. Long term, big head.
What?
Yeah, you gotta break that one
Short
down.
term, short term, little head. Long term, big head. Think. Big head, little head.
I think I got it.
Look, I think
I think I got it. But we might not be able to say it. But I think I got it. I got it.
Hey, and I'm following right behind you.
I got it.
Nailed it.
I'll think about that one. Politics. Do you guys think that this is going to be I'm not going to say how the election is going, but I'm talking about the aftermath after the election. You think it's going to be a ripple of scandal, fucking investigations and
I don't know. For Harris to be running with him, I feel like, especially she's in the like.
hey, I'm tell you something. Hey, be ready for your first black female president.
Vice president.
Yeah.
What?
But
The
go ahead.
thing about
Dan.
it is, it depends on who
For her to
who
be-
gets elected.
Yeah.
For her to be in a major sorority, aka, I feel like they're gonna do all the background search they can possibly do because one, she's part of a Greek sorority. Two, she's a black female and she's in politics and she's running with one person that could possibly take her there. Them going against Biden and all this other stuff is just.
But
It's-
but by you being a sorority, fraternity, that y'all kind of already set those standards. So, and then she has a great following about her being a part of that. But you think that would be a great advantage to her point as far as being
It
part
will,
of
as far as
Networking.
networking, black votes, excuse terminology, but it's just what it is. I feel like there's still a way for them to try to come up with something. They'll put this in front of you, and they got a whole other reason behind doing something else to cover it, to front you with this. Just like when Trump they covered up something else he was doing with this coronavirus shit, and you was looking on coronavirus, but you wasn't focusing on what he had in his backhand. You know what I mean? But I feel like for her being new and being in the position that she's in, the Divine Nine is going to support regardless. It's dependent on the individual, on how they are brought up, or their beliefs on being Democratic versus Republican. But I really do feel like she has a strong background, foundation, everything, support behind her that she can actually make it into the office.
But see, the reason I asked that is because you got a lot of blacks that's actually going Republican.
Right? That's
You
what I'm
got a
saying.
lot of blacks that's actually going Republican. So would it be my beliefs as far as my Democratic Party, or will it be my obligation because she's black?
But see, as a human being, it's foolish for any middle class American to claim a party. That ain't for us.
Right.
It ain't for middle class people. Those are for the millionaire boys, and what they do up top is to figure out who's slicing the cake these
More
next
that way.
weeks.
Yeah.
Okay, so when you get this, hey, I'm a Republican. You know what I mean? You live in a trailer home. How's that working out for you? You know what I mean? What's the point? And it's like being in a game. We go out here, we fight these Republican, Democratic battles. For what? Now, as far as scandal goes, I think the scandal has already been committed. I think we as Americans are now, because we heard it already, we're tone deaf and we're sensitive to it. And that's the whole thing that's what's going on with the post office. The man says he wants everybody to vote via mail.
Yeah.
But yet you go in and you destroy these post offices and their equipment. And ain't nobody saying, hey, that's a problem.
Right.
You saying you want
But see,
every...
they did that because of the coronavirus to keep the crowds down. But once they came up with a solution, like you said, he turns around and said, "Well, hey, the post office is government funded, so I got control over that. So let me break up this infrastructure a little bit, and maybe it'll fall in my favor." So he's going to do whatever he needs to
And
do.
he did that. And he set the post office back 20 years. He took, all the technology out of now. They sort of mail by hand to where they can't keep up. So if there's an election where we actually required to have a mail-in ballot, there's going to be a lot that's going to disappear. But try this on for size. It's okay for my 5-year-old to go to school, but it's not okay for me to go vote in public.
Go vote in public. Right.
Yeah.
That's a problem. A problem, an issue, and a situation.
Under White.
Politics is a real ugly subject for me, especially since 2016. Number 45 has done nothing but a sleight of hand. I'm talking about the post office. Really, it's not about, it's not really about the post office, it's about sowing the seed of just not believing in it being correct. Because if he wins, everything's going to be fine. If he doesn't win, it's going to be crap from November 3rd through to January 20th, and then past it. Because all the crap he's done since then is going to have to be undone. It's just like when you talk about one of the first things he done when he got in office was sign executive order to take away the daggone restraints on the college lending agencies. But to see everybody that red, green, black, white, yellow, green, red, everybody applies for a college loan.
But I mean,
And when
but
you
now
look-
since Corona, it has hurt them anyway.
And when you look at the, like you say, in the middle class, you cannot be party oriented. In politics, you pick the lesser of the two evils. And you kind of I'll lean toward the Democratic Party because they're more looking out for the middle class to a certain extent.
But I hate having to pick between the lesser two evils. It's like telling me,
It's-
I'm gonna
that's
kill you,
life.
but you want it by the gun or you want it by the knife? But you're gonna die.
Oh, yeah.
One of the two.
It's a good segue for a comment from Patrick. He says it's all about staying engaged after the election. People vote and then don't follow up.
That's right.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
We are correct in what he's one of the few people that figured it out that before you can control anything on a national level, you have to be able to control it on a local level.
Right.
See, we gonna get out and vote on the presidential level, but we ain't gonna worry about these representatives. We ain't gonna worry about the senators.
Yeah.
We ain't gonna worry about the judges, but we gonna get out and vote for the president, and that's where it starts.
Prime example, when you look at the state of Tennessee, what's the Republican's name? And in the promo commercials for him, they always sold him as a Trump supporter, which is a proven fact that it starts at the ground level. What you elect at the local level determines what you get
Yeah,
at the
that
highest
higher
level.
level, yeah.
Because
Right.
that's who's gonna support the agenda.
Yes.
That's who's gonna carry the tiki torch, so to speak.
Let me ask you this. Now, do you think government, the structure that we're in government now, do you honestly believe that with the ongoing protests as far as Black Lives Matter, that to now it's starting to dwindle down a little bit, but in certain areas it's still effective. But do you think this was a prime example for government to practice, to take control of local government as a whole, as far as like martial law, and as far as, and also at the same time seeing how far, as far as a government will be able to intervene with local law, as far as take over.
A comment from a viewer, Roger Stone, just said if 45 loses, he should implement martial law. Since you brought that up.
Slope head.
So do you think that?
But see, Congress have already said that Trump is dug in and they're prepared to use military force. And they've already got clearance to use military force to remove him if he was to lose. So that right there tells us it's something else going on behind the scenes that we don't know
know
about.
Right.
And so what I've been noticing, you got a lot of these malicious groups. You got the what's that black one? What's the M?
Down in Georgia?
Yeah, the black militia. You got the all these South Dakota, North Carolina, all these militias going on. Ammo, you can't find ammo nowhere. Guns is scarce. So the biggest fear now is like it's like the powder keg is swelling.
But you gotta understand.
Can we get to the point where they lose?
You gotta understand though, 45 is holding the lighter. It ain't a coincidence that all you just named is starting to go down under 45.
Well, yeah.
I mean, listen, you just had a black president precede him, and all this didn't happen.
Right.
So guess what? Somebody is antagonizing this. Somebody's saying it's okay for y'all to do this. Somebody's saying that, hey, there will be no punishment behind this, that, and that. Now, what local government has found out is that it's a different time. We're not our grandfathers and our fathers. We're not, this new generation ain't them.
Right.
Okay?
No.
The new generation,
Not-
this new generation
No fear.
ain't them.
No,
You know what I mean?
fear. No.
So,
no.
but what they don't understand is you created that. You created that.
But when this,
No,
but if it do
It's
explode, wouldn't it,
always been there.
they just gonna find a way to do it.
The climate changed in 2016 and they came out. It's always been there. You've always had those militia groups. You didn't hear about them much because if they did become a threat, that's why you had that one militia group that was in the Midwest somewhere, and the guy's wife or whatever got killed.
Oh, was that Ruby Ridge or something like that?
Yeah.
Yeah, that. No, they've always been around. And they kind of went to the background from 2008 to 2016. Number 45, the rhetoric, just like what happened in North Carolina, they're great people on both sides. Oh, Nazi, great people on both sides.
No,
There's never been, they've never came right out and how would you put it? Called it what it was.
They
Yeah,
gonna-
call
they
it
gonna-
spade
they
a
gonna-
spade.
But they ain't gonna
They
never
never-
call it what it is. They ain't gonna never.
Because that's not what they're about.
They're not gonna never call it.
But if this hurricane was to explode, do you think this is the way for government to restructure the government as far as delete the Constitution altogether and reform a whole new Constitution? Because
I would like to say
the only thing that's been holding this structure together has always been based on the Constitution.
Purge
if
is
they-
among us.
But if they, but if they were to restructure that, like kind of like the Purge, when they restructured the government, where they took out, just say we're not going by this anymore. This is what we're going to rewrite. This is what we're going to do. This is the new foundation. Do you think that's a way for a government to get swallowed by itself, a civil war in itself, where it gets so divided that this is the fire to restructure, build a new structure?
Well,
Like, speaking of civil action or civil wars, you're saying, comment, y'all have so many comments. America has been the greatest teacher of hate and has taught our youth through history that violence is the key.
Well,
Yes and
with
no.
violence becomes.
Yes and no.
Mhm.
It depends on who the violence is against.
All right, who's creating the violence towards what section?
Who's it been
Absolutely
against?
right.
Because it's been against us from day one. It's just like there was a segment on the news this morning about a guy that wasn't even in the driver's seat. Girlfriend driving, stopped for a busted tail light. They make him get out of the car. They say he didn't have any identification on him, so they get him out of the car, and the next thing you know, they punch him in the face.
but why they get him out of the car if he's not the operator?
He's not even the operator of the vehicle.
Because that's
what
the
I'm
way they've
talking
always
about.
done
That's
that.
what I'm
Yes,
talking
they've
about.
always done that. That ain't nothing
That's
new.
what I'm
It's
talking
just now that these cell phones has
Yes.
brought it to the forefront.
That's what I'm talking about. It's always been there.
But you know what? The other side is going to say, "Oh, he was a
He
criminal.
was the threat.
He was a
Of
criminal.
course.
He was aggressive. He was agitated." They're not looking at the fact that the people that
Why
are
were they
paid
messing
to
with him in the first place?
the people who are paid to enforce the law breaks the law more than most of the criminals.
Tell me about it.
But now, the way I'm kind of like seeing this is that after all that's going on in the world today, and it's out in the front, in the front, because you got so much media, so much blogs and everything else that you can't hide it anymore. It's like you cannot know what's going on, but to the point where it's almost to the point where the moment it dies down, you get a police officer or someone of authority to do something to spark that fire up. And that's what makes me think that I think it's more powers in play because they don't want that fire to die out. just like I just said, Black Lives Matter is still a forefront, but it's dying down a little bit. But at the same time, it's going to be something where somebody's going to do something
it's not
to
necessarily
re-spark that flame.
Dying down. It's just that the media coverage of it is not as profound. They still have rallies.
Yeah, they still having rallies, but it's not the main thing that
Speaking
you see
of the
anymore.
Black Lives Matter, yet a man in NFL uniform is a son of a, and for peacefully protesting. So they're referring to the game that just happened.
From Thursday night.
Yes.
Kansas City Chiefs.
Oh, Kansas City Chiefs. Well,
you're not supposed to have an opinion. You're not
Right.
supposed to have, have a say.
How dare you have one?
My thing is this right here. Let's just say, hypothetically, you come over here from, just say, Saudi Arabia. Okay? The government says, hey, you say, I'm coming over here from Saudi Arabia, civil war in my country, my life matter. So the other Saudi Arabians over here says, well, Saudi Arabia lives matter. I'm not going to wake up and say, well, all lives matter. Black lives matter too. They don't concern me. They ain't got nothing to do with me. I'm going to continue to get up and go to work and hope everything work out in a humanitarian. But that ain't the way the other side operates. Because you got to understand, even after all of this, they still think you're supposed to be under thumb.
and be one and have a side. They want you to choose a side. Well, it's all always about money.
Now, you're talking about somebody in the background pulling the strings. What about the motive for pulling the strings?
A new government.
Yes
new
or
form
no?
of government.
Well, taking the government back to where it was. Okay, we'll say,
Well, you know what? I saw something on the internet called the New Confederates.
yep,
And what it had was the actual Confederate states was reconsidering becoming independent states, taking
Yeah.
taking themselves away from the United States.
yep.
And it was kind of like a scenario on
Like the
how
collapse
it
of
will
the Soviet
play out
Union.
if these states was to segregate themselves from the United States, and how the numbers will play out. You got one country, but yet two forms of government, and they have their own military, and the North has their own
We
military.
did that, tried that, it won't work out.
That'll work.
But hey, we got a lot of stuff. Hey, next show we're gonna try to pick back up from the next show. Hit us up on Facebook and YouTube. I greatly appreciate y'all checking this out and listening in. Thank you for my viewers for commenting. Hey, your comments count because we try to touch on those things. And hit us up next time. Hey, Real Men, Real Talk, Nashville. Hey, see y'all next week.